All right, here's my trade from Friday, January 14th, 2022. Um, just took a trade on SPY and it worked out. So here's my breakdown of it. Um, Overall, I've been trying to go for more of what I call range resistance trades, which are essentially it's a short, um, rising devil near the open or near the first half hour is sort of the kind of the main setup as of right now. And that's kind of what it did today. And so let me go over it here. Here's the SPY daily chart. You can see we were at all-time high and then we rejected it, came down. Well, we created a range up here, broke down pretty hard and kept going. Then we reversed pretty strongly back up with volume. Then it started to turn around here. We had that indecision, and then instead of another indecision or a continuation high, we had a reversal. So essentially we had a pivot here, isolated pivot. And then, so now we're back going down. And so here, today, I was either playing the, we were either going to get another indecision inside day like that, or we were going to get, maybe even a reverse back inside or a continuation down. So I guess I was looking for what the pre-market showed up and showed, and then how I could trade it. So let's go to the other time periods here. So here's the 5 minute. Let's go to So here's the 5 minute with the pre-market here. So this is what we were looking at before the stock moved around here. We had that indecision day, and then we had the pivot that sold down, and so overnight price continued to go back down close to the open. It had been going down, and then it started to reverse back up. So to me, it was sort of setting up as a potential rising devil. If we had some good levels up here, I would want to then get short for the potential to go back down and get some type of inside range day, and maybe even a continuation under 460. So then what I did was I would look on my 5 minute, and I didn't include the pre-market here, and I guess I have a lot of lines here, and maybe I'll just take them off actually. So here's the 5 minute. Obviously it just looks kind of random here, but this was the open right here. So you can see it gap down. So we're opening here, okay? And so what I did was I zoomed out and I was like, okay, well, where are there some levels here? And I noticed that 465, more like 465 right here. It took some time to break down through it, and then it took it a little bit to then break back above 465. So I created a level here, 465, and that's pretty much all I did. I told myself, well, 465 is a good level. You zoom out like that, and I feel like it's pretty cut and dry. That's about the best level you can get here. Overall, in the last 5 to 10 days here, this was that high all-time high range that it created up here, right? And then it sold down. Well, it sold down heavy all the way to 465. I mean, on this day, I guess it was more like 465.36, right? But we usually round to those whole dollar numbers, maybe even half dollar, right? And then the next day, then it came down again hard and then bounced a little bit lower right here. So I generally 465 here. So that was pretty much my level. And then price opened this morning here, sold out or bought up for about over a half hour. It looked like it was 45 minutes. Came all the way up, and then tested close to 465. There was a large offer at 464.50. I believe. And I wish I would have saved it. I didn't. I started recording it after. But I guess what I'm getting better at is that, there's always going to be battles going on at different times. However, if I have what I think is my 10 out of 10 level or my really good level where I want to see a potential break or a bounce, that's where I want to see the tape show me something. And, my level was up here. And while I was waiting and watching price go up and come back down here, there was a large order on the level 2 on the ask up here. Now, for whatever reason, I can't remember now exactly what it was. It was either 464.50 or maybe it was, I think it was 464.50. Maybe it was higher than that. I don't know. I think it was 50 cents. So it had already hit it and then came back down. And so it must have came back or was refreshing. I think that's what happened. It was 464.50. It hit it, came down, and I was watching it in here. I was wanting to short it, but I knew that I didn't want to yet. And so I put in a limit order for up here, and I said if it can come up and hit that large order, hopefully it'll reject it. It's in line with my higher time frame level. I feel like this is the area where it's going to either make a decision and break through it or reject it, right? So let me pull out my my other chart where I have saved, where I had my trades on there. Okay, here's a saved image from my entries and exits from Friday, because I'm doing this review the next day. Here was my level 465. This is the 5-minute chart, and price comes up. I put in a limit order. It hits it, fills it, and within a few minutes it rejects it. This line right here. So some of these are my just levels. So I have the 460 marked as a key level of a low, and here's the 465. But I also have this line here is my ATR. So I like to just put the ATR. I just draw it as a trend line over to the side, so I know exactly how long it is. And this just gives me a rule of thumb as to how far it could move. Sometimes I put more weight on the ATR, sometimes I don't, but I like to just see it here. After that bigger sell-off yesterday or on Thursday, I knew that this day might be more of an inside day. And so, I might put a little more weight on price moving less than an ATR today. Even though we had more R-vol, I knew there was obviously potential to keep going and we could get an ATR further, but I put a little more weight on, okay, this could potentially be less than an ATR because we've had a big sell down day already. So I might, in that regard, I might look to partial a little bit sooner or look for earlier levels. So that's my ATR right here. This little notch is 10% of the ATR. So I'm trying to work on that again. I used to do a 15% notch. Basically, I have the level, whether I have a limit order or not, or I get in as a market order, I use the 10 to 15% notch to give me that wiggle room. I get in and I allow it to breathe up to 15% before it then, hopefully rejects that level and then keeps going. So it gives me some time and some wiggle room and gives me some breathing room. That way I don't have to get in exact and be in the money right away. It could go against me a little bit. And so that was the 10% notch. And when I did get in with this limit order, this notch was probably a little bit higher. And I probably would have allowed it to get above 465, maybe even closer to 465.50. So I think ATR was, let's just say it was like $6.50. So this was probably around 65, 70 cents. Here, I think I got in at 80 cents. I got in at 70, 464.70 around. And so, yeah, I think my stop was right around 465.50. I might have even lifted it a little bit above 50 cents to 52 or something. So it's not perfect, but that's generally my rule of thumb as of right now. And it worked out. As soon as we had this engulfing candle and then it kept going, that was that was key, because that was low of day from yesterday, and then it broke that sort of range, and then um, yeah. So far that's what I did for the sort of the entry, the setup, the idea, and it all worked out using the ATR, using that 10%, using what I thought was the best level. Price opened up and bought up all the way to it. So it really, this is sort of my kind of my ideal setup. And then, but what I'm really trying to work on is knowing how long to hold, having a plan for what should this be doing, and therefore, if it's doing what I think, hopefully holding or eventually getting heavier. So let me go to another chart and zoom out a bit here. Okay, so after I did all that work to come up with that plan and work on that entry, the level, and once I got in correctly, I wanted to make the most of the trade management. And so here are the things that I use. So I have the ATR here, but like I said, I'm not necessarily thinking it's going to go more than an ATR. So then I look back and say, well, where are some really good levels to partial at? Well, right away, the best level is 460 right here. So again, this is, if you can tell, this is price opens right here. So this is the gap overnight. Price opens right here, goes up to 465. And then now it's going down. I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to hold for and where I'm going to partial. So 460 is the level. And the reason why is, if you remember on the daily here, remember a few days ago, we had the big sell-off, and then it gapped down, sold even more, and then really hard, everything reversed, right? And did this big hammer and went up for a few days. The big reversal that AMD, NVIDIA, all the stocks reversed on. Well, here's that day. See how it was huge sell-off, and we had a really nice double bottom. And here's the neckline right there. And what level is that? 460. Awesome psychological level. So to me, that's cut and dry, a 10 out of 10 level. There's other ways of it being a 10 out of 10, but to me, this was a 10 out of 10 because we know a huge reversal, whether it's an isolated daily pivot reversal or whatever, but this kind of reversal, this hammer, is a really good reversal. And then if you look in that day and say, well, what did it do in that day? Well, here you go. It did this really nice double bottom, super clean with a nice neckline that never was broken again. It was pulled back, retested, and went. So right there, that was the best target. It was also inside of an ATR. So to me, that's a great combination, because, I'm thinking this is going to be an inside day. It might be oversold. And then, and so that was a great level to go for. And then the other thing was, where's like a mid level where I can pay myself some as I'm correct, right? Because it would be hard for me to hold all the way to there, at least right now in my journey for this system. It's hard for me to hold all the way there. So I found this 462 because after this double bottom reversal, kept going pretty strong from there, and then did pull back before the end of the day. Held here and then bounced into the close and then close up here, right? So this was the open, which is probably, there's a gap, so that's probably somewhat important, but it had already broken that, right? It broke that on that 5-minute engulfing down that I was in. So this level 462, and it was at a whole dollar, right? So the whole dollars obviously work really well with SPY or anything that's any stock that's really expensive. Whole dollars are going to be important, but we don't want to just partial at every whole dollar, right? They got to be important. So that's why you kind of find that whole dollar that connects with other important variables like that 460. But the 462, like I said, it retested here and then kept going, and then even retested again here and a little bit higher, but here again. So I felt like 462 would be the next best level. So when I zoom in here, I place that level there, and that's where I wanted to start partialing as well. And you can see that it did struggle here. It held here and then eventually busted through and then came back up and then tried to go down, bounced a little bit, and then busted down through. So I do think that 462 is the next best level. I feel like 460 was the best target, and it even shows. Like when I look at it after the fact and say, okay, well, was I correct? How did it work? Well, 460 ended up working pretty damn well here because you can see it reversed. And then did 462 work? I mean, at the open, it sure did bust through it, which sort of devalues it a little bit, but that was the open, right? We got tons of opening volume. Um, and but then here looks like it held, busted through, and then held again here. So I don't know. I think it was a good inflection area for the day there. So let me go to my chart again here and show where I partialed. You can see here I partialed at, so I partialed before 462. I guess I partialed at 463. So it engulfed, busted through, and I wanted to pay myself. And then I paid myself a little bit more than at 462. And, I guess we never exit exactly how we plan on it. We get emotional or whatever. And then I just wrote a battle in here because I was seeing a lot of tape action in here. And I think this is good for all of us, is to either write down, timestamp when you're seeing things on the level 2 where you can go back and watch the tape, or you can put it in the DOS and just put in as a text note. You can write some notes down in there, and I just wrote battle to kind of go back and rewatch the tape. Came down here to 461, and I felt like I'm mostly out of my position here, actually. This was early still, right? So this is 11:30. So that's also another factor, is what time is it in the day? Because if this was 2 p.m. and we were here, well, maybe I would hold. Maybe I would think that either 460 could hit sooner, but we did all of this, and it's only 11:30. I'm seeing some support. This was low of day, seeing some battle here, and to get to 460, maybe it's going to take longer in the day. Volume's starting to die. It's that mid-afternoon lunchtime. So I did get almost all out. Felt like, it came back up to that battle area. I'm going to add in some. My average was up here, so I lowered my average a little bit, just added in small. It came all the way up. Felt like this is the last point to where it should hold here. This was that big 5-minute range here that held and then broke down. So I just felt like, and I think that was VWAP. If we go over here, well, no, actually, if you look over here, it did get above that. So that was even higher than VWAP, but that was a level. Oh, that was the previous day's low. So yeah, so you had a combination of where it kind of engulfed and broke down through. It was yesterday's low. And then, so I made that level, added in, felt like this was the last point to where if it's going to not go back up, it's going to bounce here. It worked out, and it went all the way back down to low of day, got out some. Now we're looking at more closer to 1 p.m., right? Volume starting to come back in. It's breaking down some, or it's coming down hard, starting to compress. At the same time, I'm seeing that large. So now, okay, so now I'm here, right? And I'm wondering, what do I do? Should I add it? Okay, so this is like what I'm going to work on is, and this is kind of a side topic, but maybe I should just talk about it later. But I'm trying to get a trade. I'm trying to get the range trade, right? The inside. Sort of, maybe it's going to be a big doji on the daily, right? Or maybe it's just going to be, an inside day like that. But sometimes it isn't, right? So sometimes it comes down and then it compresses, and then we end up having a big sell down, right? And so at that point, in the future, I want to take advantage of that. So I'm planning on a range trade, this 460 holding, but say 460 doesn't hold, well, we could get a good sell down, and then I want to add in. So I want to make this a way bigger trade, right? Range trade, hold some. It does start to break. It hits this bid. It does start to break. We see continuation. Instead of getting all out, I want to get out maybe a little bit, pay myself, and then start to get heavy as it starts to get more confirmed. So that's for future kind of future stuff. But anyways, we were right around here, and I was looking at 460, saying, okay, is 460 going to be where it bounces? And on the level 2, for sure, there was a large bid here, and I'll show you an image of the level 2 tape here. Okay, so here's a screenshot of the level 2. It was compressing, started to go down towards 460, and here was the big bid sitting down there, and it had been sitting down there for a while. As I got closer to 461, I was checking. Sort of looks a little icebergy, but it ends up not being an iceberg. It fills pretty quick, and it's pretty much done. So that was that. So what I guess what I'm saying is I have a key level 460. It was that big reversal the other day. 10 out of 10 higher time frame level for me. We should see a battle. Then we get confirmation that sure enough there's a big bid sitting there. So that's sort of the opposite of how I got in to short up here. I felt like that was a key level. I wanted to see something on the tape. Sure enough, I saw a big ask. It hit it, couldn't keep going, so then I got short. So it's almost the opposite down here. I had the idea that we're going to have a smaller inside range day. Comes down to my other level. You see an action. Then we want to wait and see what happens, right? So it could very well break it and keep going. But we want to see it hit it, hold, and eventually start to make a new 1 minute, 5 minute, etc. high, whatever you need to see. And then maybe I could get all out and or someone could go long. Tyler ended up going long. So we double teamed this stock. I went short, he went long, and we gang banged this stock. So yeah, that's another subject. So I was planning on getting all out here, and let's go to another image. Right there. So there we go. It hits 460. See all these large orders. So this is my medium size, everything over 1,000. This is everything over 5,000. I don't even show the small orders. So boom, 460 gets hit. And what I'm saying is there's really no continuation. It does hang out under 460 a little bit, but we do see some bigger orders under 460, but it doesn't take very long before it comes back above 460, and I don't think it ever really tests it again after it gets above it. So, and then from there it was a long. So that was pretty much my trade here. Went short, got in short again, went down, hit 460, and it was long from there. And I did get, I held some shares and I got stopped out there. And it ended up going past high of day a little bit and going even higher. So it was definitely an inside day. It was a good trade. And yeah, that's pretty much all I got for here. And thanks. Talk to you guys later.